Quakers come out at 0-2, taking on the 0-2 East Liverpool Potters. But everything clicks on all cylinders tonight for the Quakers as they defeat East Liverpool by the final score of 28-7. With Gary Goddard, this is Todd Bell at Riley Stadium. And Gary, things a lot more enjoyable tonight at Riley Stadium. When you don't turn it over 6 times out of 7 possessions in the second half, things tend to be a little more exciting.
It's fun when you win.
Yes, it is.
Definitely much more fun. And you're right. Turnovers, don't turn it over 6 times. You're going to win a few ball games. The penalties, they kind of ended up in the first half. They didn't come back and hurt them too much in the second half. They cut those out, and everything just clicked tonight for Salem. And it was a much-needed clicking, too, on all fronts.
Got all kinds of time tonight during the Salem Quaker call-in show. I'd like to hear from you at 337-7764. That'll get underway, maybe a little early tonight, but around 10 o'clock. So be listening. Gary will have Coach Boren live during that as well. Let's run down some of the stats. Gary, 21 first downs for Salem, 11 in the second half. East Liverpool only 1 first down in the second half for a total of 6.
Oh, well, it wasn't until the fourth quarter that East Liverpool got positive yardage even. So you're right. The Quaker defense also answered some questions tonight. They had been bitten by Balderson and Nesmith the last 2 games. They shut down. Foster looked good on that one drive, but after that, they pretty much shut him down.
Quakers tonight with 305 yards rushing, mainly, all from 3 running backs. Martin did have 15 yards, but the rest of it came from a trio of running backs tonight who really, the performance came from the heart tonight for Salem. Leading ball carrier was Jason Humphreys, 19 carries, 134 yards. He had a touchdown run of 58 yards. 20 carries, 96 yards for Eric Davis. He had a touchdown run of 4 tonight. And Ryan Fritz had 13 carries for 60 yards. That all came in the second half, and he had a touchdown yard of 1 yard. And Gary, you talked about it a couple of times, but to be able to give players like Davis and Fritz some invaluable learning experience out there during a victory really has to help this team going into the last 7 games.
All right, Quakers have them for 2 more years after this one. And another important thing, having that many running backs, as we mentioned during the game, by the time the fourth quarter comes around, that offensive line has just been pounding on the defense of the opposition. You come out there with fresh legs like they did Fritz tonight. Davis and Humphreys did the bulk of the running, but then Fritz comes out there in the fourth quarter, and they just can't catch up to him. That's going to help the Quakers, too, having that depth at the running back.
86 yards rushing tonight for East Liverpool, and they were led by Darvis Foster at 14 carries for 81 yards for the East Liverpool Potters tonight. Passing, 60 yards for the Quakers as Martin was 6 of 10, did throw 1 interception. Coles tonight only 16 yards passing for the Potters. Coles only had 9 yards passing as combined East Liverpool was 3 of 10. They did not throw an interception. The Quakers dropped the ball once, and they did lose it on a fumble. 2 fumbles for East Liverpool, and they lost 1 of them. Quakers had 4 penalties for 55 yards, all in the first half, and East Liverpool had 2 penalties for 10 yards. Both of those came in the second half. Good job tonight for Quakers in the trenches. 8 of 14 on third down conversions, 3 of 5 on fourth down, and Gary, they had a touchdown on fourth down. That was their first points of the night tonight.
Yeah, the Quakers, you're right. The trenches is another thing tonight. We saw the offensive and defensive line do a good job tonight. And a lot of those were pressure third downs, too. They were a lot of third and longs, too.
They were.
And they got enough yardage to even go for it on fourth down. 3 out of up until tonight's game, Quakers didn't have a fourth down conversion. Tonight, 3 of 5 in that category, too. And that's what keeps your drives going. That's what keeps your time of possession up. And by doing that, you're keeping the ball out of the opposition's hands.
What did you think of the Salem offense tonight? A little bit different than we had seen in the previous weeks, but they set East Liverpool up, and East Liverpool really didn't do anything to change things around.
Oh, they suckered East Liverpool good at the beginning of the game, driving Humphreys up the middle. Then that pitch was open to Davis pretty much the entire second quarter. Didn't go to it as much in the second half, but a couple times it worked for decent yardage, again, after they went up the middle. So they had East Liverpool not knowing which direction the ball was going. So a good job, too. And those pitches were right on target, too. I think there was only 1 that was fumbled. So the Martin to Davis connection on the pitch was clicking. Yeah,
for a play that hadn't been run in the first 2 weeks, they really did a nice job of it. And a lot of credit goes to the defense tonight of the Salem Quakers as they held East Liverpool to only 102 yards unofficially of total offense and only 6 first downs. And this was an offense that had done pretty well against two powerhouses in northern West Virginia. When we return, Gary and I will give you our Ziegler's Trophies and Engravable Gifts player of the game and final comments as well. That'll be after this timeout for Lee Strug. Riley Stadium, the Salem Quakers, a 28-7 winner tonight, and Ziegler's Trophies and Player. Just go ahead.
No, see, you yell at me all this time, man. Man, it is time to announce the Ziegler's Trophies and Engravable Gifts. We've done this for, what, 3 years now? You think we ought to know this by heart. Ziegler's Trophies and Engravable Gifts in downtown Salem, 160 South Broadway. Stop in, see Tom, Sue, or Joanne. Call them at 332-4457. They have all the trophies, plaques, ribbons, and rosettes for anyone who deserves recognition, and a new gift gallery selection with plates, coasters, and keychains, and Christmas ornaments, too, from the renowned Wendell August Forge. And tonight's player of the game, Davis from Salem. Just an awesome game here. 96 yards, 1 touchdown. All 3 running backs had fine games. Humphreys with 134 yards. Davis, though, he's the one that I think turned it around, basically. And let's not forget, he did well.
5-yard